Hey everyone, and welcome to Linguist Rising. Today, we are diving into a really powerful idea in education called critical pedagogy. It's a framework that completely rethinks the role of a teacher, pushing them to be so much more than just instructors, to actually be advocates for their students. So let's get right into it. So let's start with a really big question, one that gets right to the heart of this. Is a teacher's job just to teach grammar and vocabulary? To deliver the facts? Or is there something deeper, something way more critical going on? You see, a teacher's role, especially when you're working with English learners, goes way beyond the lesson plan. They're not just teaching a language, they're acting as cultural mediators, as intellectual partners, helping students navigate a whole new world. Now, to really understand where this comes from, we've got to go back a bit. We're talking about the 1950s and the absolutely revolutionary work of the Brazilian educator Paulo Freire. His ideas basically turned the whole conversation about education on its head. So one of Freire's biggest critiques was aimed at what he so brilliantly called the banking model of education. You know the one, it's this idea that teachers just deposit knowledge into students' heads, as if they're these passive, empty bank accounts just waiting to be filled up. And here's where it gets really interesting. Just look at the contrast. Critical pedagogy completely flips this model. Instead of the teacher just depositing knowledge, the teacher and students co-create it. The goal isn't just memorization anymore, it's something huge, liberation and the power to take action. So instead of that old banking model, Freire proposed what he called the problem-posing method. It's this awesome three-step process that's actually rooted in the students' real lives. First, they identify a real problem from their own world. Then, they dig in and analyze its causes. And finally, and this is the key part, they come up with a plan to actually do something about it, to change their reality. Freire's work really blew the doors open for other thinkers to start exploring all these hidden forces inside our classrooms. And that brings us to our next section, the incredible connection between language and power. For example, the historian Michel Foucault came along and said that power isn't just something that kings and presidents have. He saw it working everywhere, all the time, through language itself. He called it a struggle for the control of discourses. Foucault called the tools of this struggle discursive practices. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, it's basically the way that institutions, like schools or the legal system, use language to keep power. I mean, think about the formal language used in a courtroom versus how you talk with your friends. It's not neutral, right? It reinforces who has the authority. Building on that idea, the sociologist Pierre Bourdieu gave us this fantastic concept of social capital. He said that language itself works like a form of wealth. The way you speak, your accent, your vocabulary, it's not just how you sound. It's kind of like your social passport. It can grant you access and opportunity, or it can get you denied at the border. So here's the bottom line. The big takeaway here is that the language we use in school is never neutral. It is a form of power, and it's a type of currency, a kind of capital that can either open doors for our students, or it can keep those doors shut. Okay, so this is all some pretty heavy theory, right? But the real question is, how does this actually translate into a real classroom with real students? Let's take a look at this pedagogy in action. This is a perfect example of what's called critical language awareness. I mean, look at this. The students aren't just reading the article to understand it. No, they're digging deeper. They're asking, okay, why did the author choose these specific words? Whose perspective is being told here and whose is being left out? They're analyzing the power that's baked right into the text itself. And this kind of critical approach can show up in so many amazing ways in the classroom. I mean, you could have students debating local policies or writing from the perspective of someone on the Underground Railroad or analyzing social justice issues. In every single one of these cases, the goal is the same, to connect language directly to power and to the real world. So as you can probably see, all of this leads to a really fundamental shift in how we see the teacher's role. It's a move away from just being neutral and a move toward becoming an advocate. The educator Henry Giroux actually had this really powerful term for this kind of teacher. He argued that they stop being simple technicians who just transmit information. Instead, they become transforming intellectuals. So what on earth is a transforming intellectual? Well, it means being a teacher who is deeply aware of all those power dynamics we've been talking about. It means actively working to empower students and giving them the tools they need to challenge injustice in their own lives. And that brings us right back to where we started. This entire framework really forces us to ask ourselves this one fundamental question. If every choice a teacher makes, from the curriculum to the very words they use, carries social and political weight, well, can teaching ever really be a neutral act? It really makes you think, doesn't it? We'll leave you with that.